Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the Benjamin Z. Miller Investor Networking Group. It is so nice to see everyone here. We've got investors that are from around the world. We have investors from the United States. We have investors from Europe. If you're watching this on the internet, we have these meetings every week, and you can come to the meeting. You can meet a lot of quality investors. If you're a business person and you want to meet more high quality contacts, you can join the Benjamin Z. Miller Investor Networking Group. Just send me an email, ben@benjaminzmiller.com. So very good. We'll go ahead and do a presentation. We do a presentation each week. And this week we're talking about the exciting world of wholesale real estate. I'm going to show how you can flip real estate contracts for fast cash. So basically, all it is you're going to put a contract on an asset. We will talk about real estate, but this same concept would work with any sort of an asset. You could do it with watches or cars or whatever. But imagine the house has a value of 100,000. You find a seller that'll sell it for 65,000. You put a contract on it. Now, before you purchase the house, maybe you're supposed to buy the house in 30 days, you find somebody that will buy your contract for 10,000 and you pocket a gain of 10,000. And you can do this on larger assets. You could do it on a bigger house. You could do it on a multi-million asset, or you could do it on an apartment complex. But once you get up to larger assets, the pool of buyers gets smaller. So that is, you have to have a good network to try this on more expensive assets. So essentially, you're not selling the asset directly. Instead, you're selling the right to purchase an asset. So if you were to find some sort of an asset, negotiate a great price to buy it, tell the seller you're going to pay in 30 days, for example, and then before the 30 days is up, you find another buyer that has cash, and you say, you know what, I've got a deal, but I'll let you take my deal over. You can have my deal. Just pay me 5,000. Just pay me 10,000. Just pay me 30,000, whatever it might be. That's how wholesale works. Question that people sometimes ask is, now hang on a second, how can you sell something that you don't own? That doesn't make any sense. You're not the owner. That's not even legal. That's what some people think. Well, we are going to talk about that. So you're not actually selling real estate. You don't need a license to do this sort of thing. You are a principal in the transaction. You are buying for your own account. And as long as the seller has agreed to allow the contract to be an assignable contract, and the seller is going to allow that because you're going to draft the contract. You're actually going to have your lawyer do that, but you're going to supply the contract that the seller signs. So by default, because you made a contract that's assignable, it is an assignable contract. And the seller will be happy to sign the contract because they just are thinking, I'm going to get paid in 30 days. Okay, that sounds good. A question is, how do you assign a contract? Well, as long as you put something in the contract, or your lawyer does, that says and or assigns as the buyer. So your name, for example, Benjamin Z. Miller, and or assigns. That gives me the legal right to sell that contract to someone else. And then they can step in and they can take ownership. So that is how that works. This also works in different countries. It doesn't just apply to the United States. Virtually the majority of countries you can do this exact same thing in. So it's not restricted. But what do you do if you can't find a buyer? What if you told the seller you're going to buy it and then you run out of time and you haven't found another buyer? What do you do in that case? Well, what you can do is ask the seller for an extension. You can say, hey, I need more time. Please give me an extension. Or you could say, hey, listen, I need to work on this price. I can't make the numbers work, and you can point out some things that are not working on the price, and you can ask for a lower price. But if the seller refuses all of those things and says, no, we're going to do this. You signed a contract. We're going to do this. If you let the seller provide the contract, you're going to lose. But if your lawyer made the contract and your lawyer put in what's called a weasel clause, you're going to win, because the weasel clause will have a way where you can cancel the contract for any reason. It's called a weasel clause because of this little animal, the weasel, which is very nimble and hard to catch. It is a clause that you can put in where it makes it hard for you to have a problem. So you can put in all sorts of weasel clauses. There's hundreds of them, but I'll just list a few for example. You can say subject to approval. It's subject to approval. It's subject to written approval. You can put in a financing contingencies. You could say something like the contract is contingent upon the buyer securing satisfactory financing within 30 days of the effective date at a competitive market interest rate and terms acceptable to the buyer. What that means is that you can cancel the contract for any reason. You can say, well, there was no acceptable rate of interest. It wasn't competitive enough. Yeah. You can put in a due diligence clause where if for any reason something's not to your liking, you can say, well, it didn't pass my due diligence. You can do like Robert Kiyosaki, the partner approval. You can say that it is subject to your business partner's approval and not specify who your business partner is. You can say it's subject to the sale of another property. There's many weasel clauses, and your lawyer will have no problem supplying one. So what is important about this is that you do only off market. That is so, so key.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about off-market real estate versus on-market real estate and which is the right choice. So you want to avoid on-market deals. So anything that you see that's advertised for sale publicly, maybe it's on the multiple listing service. Maybe there's a real estate agent that put a sign in the yard. Maybe if it's a commercial deal, it's on LoopNet advertised for sale. You want to avoid these things. You don't want to go near them. You're just going to use a lot of your time and energy chasing the deals that all the other investors are chasing. Okay. You've got to find your own deals and you only want off market. Now, why off market? Okay. First of all, let me say this. Is it possible to find a deal every now and then that's on the market? Yes, it is. Is it possible to make money on a listed deal? Of course it's possible, but it's a lot harder. You want to stack the odds in your favor. You don't want to be doing this the hard way. You want to do it the easy way. And the easy way is you go out there and you generate your own leads for motivated sellers, and then you're going to sort them to determine which sort of sellers are motivated, which are not motivated. And I'll go through that in another lesson, how to quickly do that. But let's just go through it again because I want to make it crystal clear. If you get on the internet and you see it as for sale, where there's some real estate agent that has a listing that they're offering it, you don't call that agent. Don't waste your time. You don't even want to talk to them. It's just a waste of time. Basically, if you pick up the phone and call the real estate agent is going to try to sell you on buying the property. That's what they do. So they're going to use all of their sales skills to try to sell you. So if you tell them you're an investor, they're going to encourage you to make an offer. Then they're going to tell you that they want to see, that you got all the money lined up, ready to go, and they're going to do their absolute best sales pitch. You don't want any of that. You don't even want to talk to them. You're just wasting time. Don't chase those deals. That's not an effective way. It's so much easier to find an off-market deal. What's an off-market deal? An off-market deal is one that is not advertised as for sale. So you don't want to go and make 100 lowball offers on listed properties. The reason you don't want to do that is it's going to waste either a lot of your time, or if you've got some real estate agent that's a new agent that you've convinced them that it's a great idea to work with you as a buyer's agent, where they're going to go out and make offer after offer at 50 or 60 cents on the dollar. It's just going to waste time. Because even on the ones where you do occasionally get the seller to say yes, there's normally a bunch of offers that come in right at the wrong time that are lined up with fantastic financing, proof of funds, all of this. You don't make life hard. Go for the easy money, and the easy money is off market. So don't pay any attention to what the other investors are doing. Don't worry about it. You're going to keep it simple. And basically, you can do something as simple as going and knocking on doors in a particular neighborhood. And when the person opens the door, you can say, hey, I'm looking to buy a property in this neighborhood, and I wanted to see if you guys might consider selling this house. If you go knock on 100 doors, you're going to find a deal. You go knock on 300, 400, 500 doors, you're going to find a deal. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that you need to go knock on doors. I'm just using it as an example. There's many ways to build a pipeline. But if you go to a house and there's a for sale sign and it has a real estate agent, just walk on by. Don't waste your time talking to them. Don't call the real estate agent. Leave that to the ones that want to do that. That's the hard way. Okay. Every now and then I meet these guys that are investors and they tell me about, how good they're doing with on-market deals. If an investor has the skill to make money with an on-market deal where he has to go and successfully compete against all the other investors that are chasing deals, and he successfully wins, that guy's got a lot of talent. And if he takes that same talent and energy to be able to apply it to off-market deals, he'll do 10 times better, if not 100 times better. And the other thing, you don't think that these real estate agents are going to necessarily help you. They just are trying to size up if you can actually buy it. Now, they'll be friendly. I'm not saying, there's a wide range of agents. Some will help, maybe some won't, but I'm just trying to make it short and simple where you don't waste a lot of time. That real estate agent, if you do successfully get the seller to accept what they would have accepted, your crazy offer of, $10 in earnest money or nothing, and, it's all contingent on you getting a loan, that real estate agent, number one, he's probably, when he presents the offer, he's going to basically talk down about it to the seller because he's embarrassed to present it because he knows it's a flimsy offer. And he doesn't, he feels bad about even presenting your lowball offer. So what you want to do is you want to basically deal with the seller directly. And the beauty of it is the seller can say yes. And the seller doesn't always have all the latest analysis in terms of exactly what the property's worth. And sometimes if you just ask them, what would you sell the property for me, to me for, they will say a number that is different than the market value. But since you didn't come in and ask them, you said, what would you sell it to me for? You very often will get a surprise where they may quote a different thing. When we go through the negotiation piece, I'll cover that in a lot more detail, how to quickly get that done. But don't waste any time chasing on-market deals. If after you make money with off-market deals, if you want to make it harder on yourself, go chase some on-market deals. Okay, and then you can do that if that's entertaining to go through that extra hassle. So that's the most important thing. You got to be doing off-market. It's the only way to go.
So that's really the key right there, is to if you want to find a deal, you can't look for a deal that's advertised for sale. That's the reason that most new investors fail, is they try to call advertised deals, and you're never going to win calling an advertised deal. I mean, that's really hard to do. So if you just form the habit of, I don't look at and I don't investigate on market deals, you'll beat out 95, 99% of other investors. If you just, as soon as you know, is it for sale publicly? Oh, okay, I don't want it. As soon as that happens, you just tell them, I don't want it. You need a deal that nobody knows it's for sale. There's just too much competition. So how can you find motivated sellers? Well, it's quite easy. You could, for example, go to a neighborhood where you want to buy houses and go knock on the doors and say, hey, listen, I'm an investor and I'm thinking about buying houses in this neighborhood, and I wanted to know if you've ever thought about selling your house. And then they'll say, no, we're not going to sell it. Oh, okay, well, do you know anyone that might be open to selling? No, we don't. And you just go knock on 100 doors and someone will do it. Obviously, only do this in a nice neighborhood. Don't do this in a neighborhood that's a dangerous neighborhood. You can put out signs. You can put out signs that say any house, any condition, cash offer, and put your phone number on it. Or you can put another phone number on it if you're worried about code enforcement. You can say behind on payments, stop foreclosure, put a phone number on it. You can also call people that are advertising houses for sale. You can call up someone that is a private seller. Don't call a real estate agent. But if you see a for sale by owner, you can call that for sale by owner and say, listen, I see you're advertising a property at 123 Main Street. I don't want that property. But do you have any other real estate that is not advertised for sale that you might want to sell? And then they'll say, well, I do have another property, but it's not yet, I haven't gotten a real estate agent. I haven't yet put it on the market. It's being rented right now, but the renters aren't paying the rent. And then you say, that's the one that I want. I'm interested in making an offer on that one. Now you've cut out 100% of your competition. No one knows it's for sale except you. So that's the key. You can also work with professionals, and I recommend, if you want to do some Facebook or Google marketing, you can use this company, Faith Digital. They're a great company. And we have also some professionals here in the group that, if you look through the sign-in sheet, that also can help. But you can do some Facebook ads, you can do some campaigns. Another thing you can do is you can get a list of code enforcement. When properties have problems, when the city or the county says your property has a violation, that is music to your ears, because when a seller has a violation, that's an opportunity to motivate the seller to sell. Because you can say, Mr. Seller, listen, the city's about to tear this thing down. How about I buy it? And I'll buy it for less than market value. And the seller will say, that sounds like a good idea. And then if you can, before you do the deal, work with the city where they're not going to tear the property down, where you get some sort of a plan together that the city approves of, you can get a property at a very, very good price. You need to be able to sort motivated sellers quickly. That's the entire key to this game. So you want to get them to say the first number. That's also very important. So let's talk about how you do this. You don't want to waste your time over negotiating with sellers, because there's kind of this idea that if you're a good negotiator, you can talk a seller into a deal. And there's some elements that are correct in that, where, yeah, if you're good at negotiating, you can sometimes talk someone into a deal. But in reality, you're not going to be able to, in most cases, talk someone that's not motivated into becoming motivated. So how do you tell? Let's compare here, and you'll know right away if they're motivated or not motivated. So if you're talking to someone that called off of your sign and they say, I'm 3 months behind on my mortgage payments and I need to sell. I don't care if I get anything out of it. I will sell it for what I owe. That's absolutely a motivated seller. A non-motivated seller, they might say, well, for the right price, we might sell, but it would have to be a really good price. That's a not motivated seller. A motivated seller might say something like, I inherited this property when my dad passed away, and I don't live in the city there, and I don't want to fix it up or wait months for it to sell, and I don't want to pay a commission to a real estate agent. That's a motivated seller. And anytime you're dealing with an inherited property, there's a good chance it may not have a mortgage on it. Non-motivated seller would say something like, listen, you're welcome to bring me an offer and I will consider it. Anything is for sale for the right price. That's not going to work. If a seller's telling you something like that, don't waste your time. Just move on. Motivated seller, we're moving from Texas to Florida and we need to sell. We already purchased another house in Florida and we need to sell or the house will be vacant. We have to keep making payments on it. That's a motivated seller. But a non-motivated seller might say, you know what, I'm not going to take any lowball offers. If you want to make me a good, serious offer, I'll consider it. That's not a motivated seller. So just figure out who you're dealing with. You need to be able to determine the value of the asset. That's true of anything, but with single family homes, you do that by taking the dollar cost per square foot or per square meter. You're going to take comparable sales, 3 sales that occurred within ideally the last 90 days or 180 days, whatever you can get. And then you multiply it by the square foot or square meter size of the asset. And that will give you the after repair value. What about earnest money? Well, you need to make sure that you're controlling the deal, because if you put up any earnest money, you will lose that earnest money if anything goes wrong, because the seller will say, you know what, I'm just going to keep that earnest money. Even if it's at a title company, they won't release the earnest money from escrow. It'll sit there. It'll sit there locked up for months. So, but if you don't put earnest money on the table, you're not going to lose any earnest money. Now, you might think a seller would not go into a contract without earnest money, but you would be wrong. Many, many sellers will sign contracts without earnest money. They just need to understand that that's your offer, and they can take your offer or they can leave your offer. And you want to be polite, you want to be friendly, but you just basically explain, look, if I can't get the loan arranged, I'm not going to be able to buy it. If I can't get the financing arranged, I'm not going to be able to buy it. If my business partner doesn't agree, I'm not going to be able to buy it. And then, but I've got to know there's a deal in place. Let's at least sign this. So that's there. And if they really object hard, you can tell them, look, I tell you what, why don't we do this with a kick out option, where if you're worried that you can find someone that might buy it for more, right? Yeah, I'm just worried I might waste time with you and be able to sell it to someone that can buy it for more. I tell you what, let's just go ahead and try it with my agreement, but we'll add a kick out option where if you find another offer that's better and you want to sell it to them, it's fine. We'll just tear our contract up. And that will stop most of them where they just agree to do it. And then you've avoided the earnest money. So how do you assign the contract? Well, you just do what's called an assignment of contract. You just fill it in, the assignment of contract. It looks about like
An
this.
assignment of contract. So let's imagine that you found a property that has a value of 100,000 and you found a motivated seller that agreed to sell the property to you for 65,000. So you said, okay, Mr. Seller, I'm going to pay you 65,000. And then that was on January 5th, just as an example. Now, let's say that 20 days have passed and
This is in the slide deck, and I'll give everyone this, but basically you just fill it in. You just fill it in, and I've got the video that shows how to fill it in, but
an assignment.
that's all it is. It's
contract.
just a
So-
document called an assignment of contract. So just a few announcements. Every Thursday, we have a really great webinar that I want to invite you to. We have the Alamo Mortgage Holdings U.S. mortgage debt investing webinar. And this is one that if you're interested in passive income, you're going to love it. Basically, Alamo Mortgage Holdings, it's one of my companies. And what we do is we purchase packages of mortgages in the United States. And what's great about that for you is we go in and we negotiate at a really cheap price. We do it all for you where you don't have to do any work. And you can purchase one of our corporate income bonds. Our corporate income bonds, they pay hundreds of basis points more than you might be able to earn on UK gilts and other government bonds. Maybe you have some sort of an ISA account in the United Kingdom and you're thinking to yourself, I wish I could find some good opportunities. Well, Alamo Mortgage Holdings has you covered. Just go to our website, www.alamomortgageholdings.co.uk, fill out the contact form. We can get you more information. You also can go to our webinar. We have them every Thursday. I also want to tell you about Andesite Blue. Andesite Blue is another company of mine, and we offer a high yield emerging market bond. Our bond, it goes into investing into Ukraine. A lot of people, they will say to me, now hang on a minute, invest in Ukraine? Are you crazy? Why would I do that when there's a war? Well, folks, listen, if you invest when everyone else is afraid, that's when you make the big money. That's the simple thing. So if you invest now while everyone else is afraid, you can make big money. If you'd like to learn more about that, just send me an email, ben.meller@andesiteblue.co.uk. We also have a webinar every Thursday at 6:30 p.m. London time. And it's one that be happy to get you more information on that. A few last announcements. Please fill out the sign-in sheet. That is so, so important. If you haven't filled out the sign-in sheet, please fill that out. That lets us email a copy of the recording to you. And you also will get a list of all the other investors that were here at this meeting, their contact information, and not just this meeting. You'll get every single investor that's ever come to this club. So it's a great source, and you can reach out to them. We don't hide the members' contact information. You can contact them directly. They're on the list because they want to do business. And if you want people to do business with you, just put your name down, put your email, your phone, put whatever you feel comfortable sharing, but put something down. You may get a pleasant surprise. And we've got some very high quality investors in our group here. You don't know who may see that. So, and if you have any friends or colleagues that you think would benefit, go ahead and invite them. We'd love to have new people come. We also have a Discord server for you. If you like to use the high-tech stuff, we got everything. We've got a high-tech Discord server, and we have a special announcement. We also have a Telegram channel where if you subscribe to this Telegram channel and something urgent happens in the world, I will put a message out on my Telegram channel, and you will know exactly what I heard and what I think would be a good thing to do in the situation. So it's another resource for you. That is it for our presentation. If you're watching this on the internet and you are interested in learning more, if you're thinking, you know, that's great, I'd love to learn more, just send me a text message. Just text me at area code 817-203-4160, or send me an email, ben@benjaminzmiller.com. I want to thank you for coming to the meeting. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording, and then I'll open it up for any questions here. So just give me a minute.